many people actually carry a fairly unhappy identity. They are not happy with themselves, with who they are. How they interpret it varies from person to person. What explanation they have for their unhappiness varies, but they carry an unhappy sense of self, like a burden that you carry. And what they call it my life. But they don't realize that what they call my life is just an accumulation of mental concepts and images, or a narrative, a story they tell themselves, and that's my life, me and my life. So when Ramana Maharshi asks you to meditate on who am I, he is not asking you to think about your narrative about your life, or your name, or your gender, or your race, or your achievements, or your failures. He's not asking you about that. He's asking you to go deeper and you ask yourself, who am I? He's not asking yourself to come up with an answer on a conceptual level. It's a question that is designed to take you deeper than the mind, deeper than the identity that is derived from mental emotional movements, the mental emotional entity, the personality. So the question is designed to take you deeper. So, who am I? The most important thing is not to look for an answer on a conceptual level, because you'll be wrong. Go deeper. So, who am I? The answer is non-conceptual, so where is the answer? There is no answer on a mental level to that question. But you have to become comfortable with not knowing the answer after you've asked yourself the question, who am I? You can close your eyes and ask yourself, who am I? Become comfortable with not knowing the answer. You become comfortable with the empty space or the silence after the question. As a variation on this, you could also ask yourself, for some people it works better, what am I? Because if you ask who, you could be misled into the level of the personality level, because who usually refers to a person. So it is possible that for some people the who traps them, keeps them trapped on the level of the personality. If you ask, what am I? Maybe that works for some people, works better, but basically it's the same thing. What am I? If I'm not a person, but even that you don't need. What am I? Who am I? No answer. Just a silent space. So what is that silent space? Is that just an absence? Is it a complete nothingness? Is it an absence? Yes, it is an absence of concepts and images. But it is also a powerful sense of presence that has no particular shape or form. hard to describe it, almost impossible. So that sense of presence that's left, the silent presence, is who you are at a deep level. Before the person arises, before you remember your history, your personal history, before you remember what kind of body you have, or your social function in this world, etc., etc. Before that, behind that, more fundamentally, you are just a sense of presence. Doesn't have any content, no object in it. This is why I sometimes call it space consciousness, as opposed to object consciousness. Every thought is a mental object. Any thought that tells you who you are is part of object consciousness. Mental objects. And people don't realize that there is a transcendent dimension to who they are. And that is, we could call it space consciousness, but don't need to get attached to any word. These are just pointers. Who or what am I? There is no answer, and that is the answer.